everyone, welcome back into my YouTube channel, and today we are going to solve a new question whose title is copy list with random pointer. So this is going to be an interesting problem, and in this what we have to do is that we have to construct a deep copy of a given list. So we have been given a list and we have to simply construct a deep copy. That means we have to create a new list having the exact same values and same connections which is present in the previous one. Here in example, you can see that these are types of list which we have been given. That means we have three values. First, we have value, which is going to be the value of the node. Next, we have a next pointer and we have a random pointer. So in case of doubly linked list, you have two pointers, and similarly here we have two pointers. One is next and second is random, but this random pointer is acting differently than in doubly linked list. So this is a different question, and simply what we need to do is that you need to create the same scenario, same connection. That means the next should point to its next node. The random pointer should point to exactly where it is pointing in the previous or given list, but having a different node. That means different address. So you have to create new nodes for each node. That means we are creating a duplicate node for first one, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, and you have to make sure that each connection is connecting to the same exact position where it is connecting in the previous one or in the given list. So this is our problem. That means you have to create a deep copy. So this is the meaning of deep copy. That means it should be exactly same as in the previous one or in the given question. Now let's understand how you can carry forward this question. So this is the first example which I have taken, and in this example you can clearly see that what are the three things which we need to consider. The first is going to be the value which we need to consider, next pointer, and we have random pointer. So these three values which we have to think of. So while creating a new node, what you have to create it using the value. So the first problem is solved. That means if you create a new node, you already store the value in it. So this problem is solved. That means you already have stored the values for each node. Now the problem left for two pointers, which is next pointer and second we have random pointer. Now when you create a next node, what you can do, you can simply point the next pointer to the next one. So the next pointer is not an issue with us because we already know how to create a single linked list. So next pointer is not a problem. So the problem here is the random pointer, and this random pointer is a problem because it is pointing to a random position. Here the first node is pointing to null, second is pointing to the first position, third is pointing to the fourth position. So it is uncertain. That means you do not know exactly where it is pointing when you are at a certain node, because in the linked list you cannot access any node directly. You have to traverse through all the nodes. So to solve this problem, what we can do is that we can store these values. That means you can store these addresses. That means you can store this node. And after storing this node, what you will make sure that its random pointer address is stored. If you store this node, you stored its random pointer address. If you store this node, you have stored its random pointer and next pointer address also. So what we need to think is that how we can store these nodes in order to access them after we have already created this copy linked list. So in order to do so, you can simply use map, and how you can do that is that you can simply store it as a key and value pair. So for each key, that means you can take this as a key, and for each key you can create a new node and you can store it as a value. So for the first node, you have stored this as a value. For the second node, you create a new linked list and you store it as a value. Similarly you do for the all, and after this what will happen that you have already in your hand, you already have all the nodes which you required, that is deep copy, and you already have value. Only two things which we need, the next pointer and random pointer. So you can simply get this next and random pointer for the each and every values. For example, if you are at the first node, that means if you are at this position, because you are at this position, so what you can do is then you can point this next pointer to its next node. How you can do that? You can check that the key value next pointer is pointing to which node. So by checking that, you simply check that yes, this is the position where it is pointing. So you point this to its value. That means it will point to the second node which is stored in position of this key value. Now again, when you search for this random next position which is pointing to null, you can simply point this random pointer to null. So by this key and value pairs, you have stored the next pointer address and random pointer address, and you pointed the stored value next and random pointer. After you complete this loop also, first loop, what you have done, you have stored it by creating. Second loop, you have pointed all the nodes, next pointer and random pointer. What you got a deep copy. That means when you return this node, which is the value for this key, you are returning a copy of given list. So this is going to be our output. So this is the whole methodology and whole approach which we are going to follow. And I've also make sure to make you understand why we are doing that. So now let's understand it by coding. So let's start by taking an ordered map. It is going to be of type node, node star, comma, star. Let's take it as M. Now we have created an ordered map. Now next what we need to do is that we need to store the key and value pairs which we are discussing. So before that, let's take a new node, and it is going to be P, which is going to be our head. So we are taking a temp pointer which is going to be P, which is using for traversal. Now we are going to run a while loop. So while P, what we have to do is that we have to create a new node and we have to store it in our map. How we can do that? We can simply store it as something like this. So we have to store the key, we have to store the head pointer, which is going to be our P. And in this position, what we have to do, we have to create a new list. So we will write new node and we have to provide its value. So what is the value? It is going to be P. So this is how we have created and we have a story in our map. Now next what we have to do is that we have to move our pointer. So we write P is equal to P next. So by this what we have done, we have simply stored all the key and value pairs in our map. Now again we move our P pointer to head, and after this we are again going to run a while loop, and in this while loop what we have to consider our next and random pointer. So we will write while P. So here what we have to do is that we have to point our next pointer to the value for the next key which is pointing. So what we have to do, we will write M. Here what we need to access, we need to access the next pointer of our P. So here we will write next P, our P next is going to be equals to our M P next. Again what we have MP random is going to be equals to MP random. So here what we have done, firstly we have pointed our next pointer, and secondly we have pointed our random pointer. Now next what we need to do is that we need to move our P pointer. So we will write P is equal to P next. After this, we have completed all our two loops. We have to simply return. So what we have to return? We have to return the head of our newly created linked list, which is going to be our value for our first key. That means M head. Now let's try to run this code. So this is accepted. Now let's submit this code. So this is successfully submitted. So this is a question for today, and this is a very interesting question, and it will help you to understand more how the linked list works. So now in the same video, you are going to see the solution for both Python and Java. So stay tuned and let's meet in the next video. Till then, keep learning, exploring. Thank you.